Memorial Day weekend here, and we are side dressing corn. Putting a little anhydrous on. Actually, just getting started for the day here. It's about 4:30, I think. Yeah, surprise live stream. I had my daughter's birthday party today, and so I was getting ready for that, doing some different stuff this morning and early afternoon here. Decided to come up and finish this field where we're working yesterday, our irrigated cornfield here. Did not get any of the overnight rain or this morning's rain that was talked about. Which is okay, I guess, but we can take some anytime. So we'll get this done. I do need to get up here with the sprayer and put some of our foliars on. I wanted to get the side dressing done before I do that, so that's why we're up here. And I thought we could get it done. We've got about 70 acres or so to do. Should only take me a couple hours maybe to get this done. 2 or 3 hours, I suppose. Phil got us some fresh tanks this morning. They had 4 empties sitting up here, I think. Yeah, 4 of them last night when we got done. So he took all those empties back and got me at least 3 new tanks. I don't know if there's another one somewhere else or not, but we've got 3 here to finish this field, which will be more than enough. And I see a couple sitting across the river at the next field. But, well, we could go and get it done tonight if I want to, but I have lots of family home for the weekend. Kids' cousins are here, and we'll probably have to go back to the house and hang out with everybody later tonight. So we're doing a vertical live stream today. It's a little bit different. It's weird, but YouTube wants me to do them vertical, so we'll try this. So, how's everybody? I assume you can hear me. Good afternoon. Hi, Bert. Afternoon from southern Indiana. Fields are looking good. Yeah, we're sitting in pretty good shape. You know, for as late as spring started for us, from in the field standpoint, and I know we planted those beans in March, but we didn't start planting again until May 3rd, I think it was, 2nd or 3rd. And it's not late to be planting, it's late to be starting, right? I'd like to be starting between the 20th and 25th of April, certainly before the end of April, if at all possible. And so, yeah, we were getting a little nervous. It's just how things were. And it hasn't been dry. We've been fairly wet in May even. But right here, where a lot of our fields are, we've been fortunate, I guess, and missed most of the heavy rains. Every time we got some, it was half of a tenth or, 3/10, and never anything more than a half an inch. And so we never got really saturated. We were always a day or 2 away from being able to go, and we got a few windows when we needed them. And 3 weeks after we started planting, we're done with everything and side dressing the corn, and it looks really good. So it's hard to complain. We're setting in pretty darn good shape. All of the crops look really, really good. The stand in our corn is, especially the early planted corn, which again, early was a little bit later than normal this year, but the stand is so much better than what our first planted corn usually is, that I think we're in really good shape. We're starting to get a little dry. We could use some rain. I wouldn't turn down a good half inch or even an inch of rain would not hurt us at this point. So hopefully we get some of that sooner rather than later. But we don't need 4 inches, and we don't need, a huge gully washer. We could use a little bit of rain. This afternoon, it is sunny and 80 and windy and beautiful. It's a great drying day if you needed your fields to dry out a little bit more. We don't, but it's as dry now as it's been all spring. But it has been a great week for getting stuff done. Anybody that hadn't finished planting or hasn't yet has gotten a lot done this week. They've got to be getting close. People are feeling a heck of a lot better this weekend than they were last weekend. So that is good. Good afternoon. Down in southern Indiana, the big farmers are done, and some are getting started. Just depends on the ground and people dry dirt and then coming back and hitting wet spots. Yeah, I try not to do that if I don't have to, but sometimes that's what you got to do. You got to do what you can and come back and get the rest later sometimes. So, when are you going to Berkey to side dress? Well, that was some of the last planted corn, so it will likely be the last stuff to side dress. It's going to be a couple of weeks probably at least. It sort of depends on the weather. We can do 200 acres a day pretty easily. More than that if we can keep up with hauling tanks, and I don't have other things that I need to do. So it won't take us terribly long to get the corn all side dressed. But I'm trying to limit trips to Berkey with this tractor, with the 8RX here. And so I have a theory or a thought process where if I finish side dressing down there, we can just leave the tractor and the side dress bar there, take the 8430 down for wheat harvest with the grain cart, and then we can switch the grain cart onto the 8RX, put the air seeder that's down there already on the 8430 to plant our double crop beans, and I won't have to bring the side dress bar back with the 8RX, hook onto the grain cart, drive it back there. It eliminates a trip for the tractor, which is a good thing. So that's kind of the tentative plan. That does mean that we have to have all of the side dressing done here first before we take the bar down there to do the corn at Berkey, which shouldn't be a problem because there was only 40 acres planted after the stuff at Berkey, and it was close enough that we can side dress it before we go down there. Just kind of depends on the weather and how everything grows and what we can get done. So you can make plans all you want. Sometimes you got to be willing to call an audible, do things a little different. Hello from York, Pennsylvania. Hello, Larry. Too bad you got rid of that Traveler. I would love to see a side-by-side comparison with it and the 360 Rain, but I know the rain will blow it out of the water. Yeah, no, we aren't doing that. I understand what you're saying, but there's no point in keeping that around when we don't need it. So it's dusty. We've got lots of dust today. It's blowing a different direction, going to the south today. We got a little bit of a north breeze, or coming out of the north. So for the most part, everything has been working pretty good on this bar. I got one clear down on the end there that seems to want to get some dirt stuck behind the boot in the blade there, and it doesn't let it turn very good, especially in the sand up here. On the sand ridge, it gets soft and then it starts pushing, and sometimes it's a problem, but mostly it's working good. One of the vapor rows that bleeds off a lot of vapor is what it is. It's not hurting anything. Of course, depending on the weather, you're going to do more early beans next year. You need to get your mom in the tractor and wheat harvest. So this is the second time in 4 years now, right? It was 3 years ago, and then this year, we had 2 years in between that we didn't do any early beans, but I've planted beans in March, and they've lived and they've worked. It's actually the third time, because the year before, I did those 17 acres back in 2021, and I hand planted a few in my plot, like on the edge of my plot, just to see if they would survive, and they did, and that was what gave me the confidence to do the 17 acres, and then those survived and did really well. And so this year we planted 75 acres, and they survived and they look really good. And yeah, I would say anytime we get an opportunity to plant beans after March 15th, we need to plant beans. I'm not saying we need to plant all of our beans, but I'm not afraid of doing a couple hundred acres at this point. Every time it works, you get a little bolder and do a little bit more. Someday it'll bite me. Someday we will get a light frost and they will all die off. But until that happens, and even if it does, I'm winning more than I'm losing at this point. So yeah, I think the early beans is a good thing to do. Did you guys watch my video this morning and my chemistry lesson on nitrogen anhydrous? What did you think? Am I full of it? What did I get wrong? Can't wait to see the rain in action and the results. Yeah, me too. Hello from Yamhill County, Oregon. Hello there. How many percent N is anhydrous? Anhydrous is 82% nitrogen. Great to see you live. How hard would it be to push beans to 135, 150 bushels? Very, very, very hard. There are people that are doing it. It is not common by any means. I don't know what it takes to get them there. I would love to get to 100. If we could have a field of beans average 100, or a plot of beans average 100, I would be absolutely thrilled. But I don't know how to get them to there yet either. I've been able to hit 80 fairly consistently the last few years, and that feels really, really good, but beans are hard to get over 100. See Uncle Jack frequently. Mom's brother, dad's sister's husband. Always been curious to that. Dad's brother. So my dad was one of 10 siblings. Phil is my uncle, one of my dad's brothers, and so is Jack. Jack's been around quite a bit here this spring, just helping out little things, whatever we need. And while he doesn't directly want to be in the videos, he doesn't complain about it being in the background or doesn't make any effort to stay out of them when he sees me filming. Let's put it that way. So I want to see your point of view. All right, let's flip the camera around so you guys can see what I see. Out the front, corn looks really, really good up here. We're in V3 growth stage. I was just looking at it before I got in the tractor here. And then out the back, we've got our 2510H high-speed anhydrous applicator. And everything seems to be running really well on that. Got my 3 pressure gauges right there. Those are 1 pressure gauge for each section, and basically they're pegged out because we're running high pressure. So we're getting up here to the end. We kind of watch our monitor, watch those go away. Oh, like that. Click the master switch on the ground there, and then we lift up the row units. We turn. We hit our auto track button. We can't see through the dust, so we have no idea where we're going. Lower the implement back down, hit our foot switch, watch the rows come back on. There's our line. There you go. That's how it works. That's what I see. This corn looks good. This looks good, good, good. We need to get our rain running. Soon, 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 soon. All right. Yeah. I'm gonna flip you back around and put you in your little holder over here. Let's try this one. Does that work? Well, it does, but now I can't really read the questions. Seems like you could have just thrown out some urea before spring tillage and only had the N at risk for an additional couple of weeks. Why make it so much harder for yourself? Yeah, sorry about that. You know what you shouldn't do when you're doing a YouTube live stream? Push the power button on your phone and turn the screen off. That's a bad idea, so sorry about that, but dang, just lost half my audience doing that. Oh well, they'll be back. Yeah, so nitrogen timing and stuff. I talked a lot about it in this morning's video on anhydrous and how it works and stuff. What I didn't touch on was timing of application and all that kind of stuff. So we have always used anhydrous. We used to do a fair bit of pre-plant anhydrous, but have gone away from that over the last probably 5-6 years since we've done any pre-plant too much. And even when we did, it was, we'd pre-plant anhydrous for 3, 4, 5 days, maybe a week, and then the way we were set up, it was either we were pre-planting anhydrous and planting corn, or we were planting soybeans and planting corn. And it got to the point where I thought that getting soybeans planted early was more important than getting anhydrous put on before we plant. And one of the challenges or disadvantages with this style of applicator is that it does not put the anhydrous as deep as shank style bar that we ran before this. And I know that we've never pre-planted with this, but I know some people that have, and even the people that we bought this bar from said they would not use this in a pre-plant situation because the anhydrous can actually burn the seed or inhibit the seed growth from germinating and establishing. You can burn the roots and stuff if it's too concentrated. And so we have never pre-planted with this bar. Don't pre-plant any anhydrous. Because you do have that risk of loss, I want to put the nitrogen on as close to when the plant needs it as possible. Now, there are some advantages to going early side dress like we're doing now versus a later side dress when the corn is, say, a foot to 18 inches tall. But there are advantages to doing it later as well. But most of the corn that I'm running over on the ends when I'm making my turns, it's all going to come back. Like, we're not actually killing that corn by running it over with this tractor when it's this small. It'll grow out of it. Once it gets bigger, you run it over, it's dead. So, but yeah, the closer I can put it on to actual use timing, the better it is. And you're right, it's only a couple of weeks, but that couple of weeks can make a big difference if we were to get a big rain, especially if we were to, say, do some in April early when we want to start planting, and then it's this time and it's almost a month later when we're getting into, or we would be side dressing and stuff. You can lose a lot of anhydrous or a lot of nitrogen in a month when we have wet conditions or a really wet spring. As far as the urea side of it goes, I had 2 fields spread with urea this year ahead of the planting or ahead of the tillage so that we could test that. Grand total was about 60 acres, and it was a struggle getting that lined up with our applicator and our retailer, trying to make sure that they got it done on time and when I wanted. And I can't say that field's going to be ready in 3 days. I need you guys to be there in 2 days to spread it, or in 3 days, or whatever it is. Like, I need to, oh, this field is ready, or it needs 1 more day. You guys got to be here tonight or tomorrow morning to spread this. And they can't do that. That's an unrealistic expectation from me as the farmer to put on a retailer who's servicing, thousands of acres in the area. And so the ability to make that happen relying on somebody else is not possible. It's not realistic. The ability to rely on myself to spread it would be a little bit easier, but then it's a labor issue when we got 15,000 other things going on, trying to spray and plant beans and do the tillage, and now I got to throw spreading in there, and so that could be a challenge. Whereas this, we're done planting beans, we're done spraying, well, kind of done spraying, and so I have time to do this. So it just works better for our system to side dress the anhydrous than it would be to even pre-plant anhydrous or to do pre-plant urea. Not saying that the way doesn't work. I think it does, and I'm experimenting with it. If I can figure out how to put even half of my nitrogen on pre-plant dry, and then if we switch to liquid, not have to handle the volume of 28 later, that makes that system more viable. But I don't know if I can reliably get urea spread ahead of a planter. And our fields tend to be wet in the spring, that it's soft, and you're going to cause a bunch of compaction being on them when you shouldn't be. So that's a challenge. That's a big challenge for us. Alright, where are we at? I watched your video where you talked about the liquid nitrogen and anhydrous. My one question is, what is the main deciding factor why you don't do it to begin with? Don't do what to begin with? You mean pre-plant like I just talked about? Because if so, I already answered that. Would or could you side dress or have a rain in the beans and push them? Yes. So side dress, no. You're not going to put anhydrous or even liquid nitrogen on beans, especially early in the year. Now, when you start pushing these 90, 100 plus bushel soybeans, there is an argument that they can't make that much nitrogen. They can't get that much from the bacteria in the soil, and you need to supplement some nitrogen. How you time that and how you apply it can be very tricky with not overriding the microbes and making them lazy, and then you have to supply all of the nitrogen to the beans, and beans need a lot of nitrogen. Don't quote me on this, but I believe it's closer to a 2 or 3 to 1 pounds per bushel than on corn, where it's a 1 to 1 ratio. So it would be extremely expensive to supply all of it. Fortunately, beans are legumes and they can fix their own via the help of the soil bacteria. so we don't have to provide all the nitrogen. Now, when this field here goes to soybeans, which it will go to soybeans, yeah, we're going to water them. We're going to use that 360 rain on the beans. We're probably almost definitely going to plant them in 30-inch rows, and disease management will be our number one issue with trying to keep the white mold out of them. But yeah, we can put some ATS, some ammonium thiosulfate, or maybe some KTS, some potassium thiosulfate in that water, inject it, side dress, if you will, via the irrigation water, those beans, and push the crap out of them. I think we can do it. I think we can raise 100 bushel beans up here. But we'll see. The current plan is to go in a corn, beans rotation. Do 2 years of corn and then rotate it to beans. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but that is the current plan. So, what's the tractor? We are running a John Deere 8RX 370. This one. Oh, wait. No, I mean, it's just the best RX doesn't come from a doctor. You know what I mean. Also like the tennis shoes. Yeah, how's the bird poop doing on the hood? It's still there. It is still there. Haven't had a chance to wash it off. Also like the tennis shoes. Yeah, the tennis shoes are because a week ago I got chicken litter water inside my boots. If it was just on the outside, I probably would have worn them after a day or two. But it went inside, like my socks were soaked in this stuff. And so I just can't bring myself to putting them back on. I thought after a week they might dry out and I'd try them again, but I'm considering just going and buying a new pair of boots. I don't think it's worth the $150 to have to wear chicken litter boots that weren't around. Man, that stuff was gross. Alright, hello from Germany, hello. Watched the video this morning, thought you did a good job. Thank you, Larry. Here in PA, it's not a common practice to use anhydrous. Some areas it is, some areas it isn't. It's fairly common here, but even if you just go, say, 40 miles northeast of here, there's no suppliers. Nobody has anhydrous, and so they don't use it. They use 28. Even some people that would like to use anhydrous, unless they're willing to put their own tank in. And some guys do that. We decided not to put in our own bulk tank, but we did think about it. It was a consideration. That 60 seconds taught me more about tractor tech than I ever knew. Just looking around and changing how we turned on the end. Cool. Hi from Ghana. Wow. How does the tractor not crush the plants? Well, we're not driving on the plants. Let me show you. Oh, you mean on I'm turning on the end. But right now we're on the rows, right? So our tracks are 18 inches wide. We have 30-inch rows. We can get between those, no problem. All of our openers are running right down the middle of the row. We're not touching that corn. The wheels on the applicator are running down the rows in between them. Same thing on our tank in the back there. So we're not running over any of the corn going through the field here. Now, when we turn on the end, yeah, we're crushing the plants. We're smashing them and bending them over. Here's the thing. With corn, the growing point on corn is below the soil surface until it is V5 corn, what we would consider 5 leaf collars. Notice the sprayer track in this one that didn't happen to be right on the row there for a while. That corn, well, not great. It did grow through it. Anyway, so when we are turning on them on the ends, unless we are really ripping the seed and the roots out, we're just kind of laying the leaves over, and they're going to stand back up. It's just leaf tissue. You're not actually snapping off any stem or stalk because all of that is still below the surface. So it's basically like if you took well, it's like mowing your lawn, right? You take a lawnmower blade and you cut the top of it off, it all grows back. Well, that's the same thing. You could mow this corn off at ground level right now and it would all grow back. I'm not saying that won't damage it, and that's not what we want to do, but it will grow back from it. It won't kill it. What's the temperature outside? 80 something. Let's see. Our tractor will tell us this. Hit the AC button here. No, not there. Somewhere it'll tell me. I'll find it for you. I will find it. Huh. Usually it says on that page. Alright, we gotta get turned here and we gotta skip a pass because we got a tank sitting in the next one. That's our next tank. We will grab it when this one gets empty, and then we'll turn around and do the pass that it's sitting in. Okay. Oh, let's see. Outside temperature. Where would I find that? I thought that it would tell me on here, but I could be wrong, I guess. It's got to be in the machine monitor settings. Temperature. Nope, those are actual temperatures. Huh. No, maybe it doesn't. Work monitor. No. The other tractors tell me. It's in the HVAC settings. Huh. What if I take it out of auto mode? Oh, that doesn't tell me either. Automation on. I don't know what the outside temperature is. It's in the 80s. It's nice out. Okay. How many days intervals before you apply fertilizer? Well, I mean, this is fertilizer. This is, on this field, it's not the last application because we'll use some with our irrigation in the rain system. On most of the cornfields, this is the last fertilizer application that we make. So we are 3 weeks post-planting right now, not even on this field. This field was planted on a Monday. Whatever the Monday was, 3 weeks ago. Let me pull up my calendar. June, April 24th, Monday, May 6th is the day we planted this corn. And so yeah, three weeks basically. What's up? Do you have all the corn, all the crops in the ground? Yes, all the crops are in the ground. We're sitting in good shape. I know you think I'm wrong, I probably am, but I would love to see what would happen if you planted some 0.8 to 1.2 soybeans on your double crops. Yeah, that's not going to happen. Nah, definitely not that early. Yeah, we might plant some 2.2s. I got 6 bags of treated 2.2s left in the barn. If they're still there, we'll use those, but it's 6 bags. I am going to go a little bit earlier this year, though, because I have some 2.5s. In boxes that are the majority of the seed that I have left, and so that's what we'll use for our double crop beans, or at least some of them. What's in your fridge? Well, let's see. We got a box of chicken crackers over here. We got Gatorades, bottle and a half of water, and a Dr. Pepper cream soda. One of my neighbors who likes to watch my videos and is super generous stopped by the field one day and brought me a 12-pack of the Dr. Pepper cream soda there, which is awesome. So every time I pull one out, we throw a new one in there. It keeps me from drinking too many in a day because they're not cold, or at least it takes them a little while to get cold. But that fridge works really, really good. So Deere's got this built-in little fridge here, and it keeps stuff real nice and cold. Works awesome. Love to help you film for a day. Have a drone to use as well. Happy farming, sir. Yeah, I could use a film crew some days. Did you see Brian's farm hit a flight pole? Yeah, I caught just a few minutes of his live stream after he posted it. I didn't watch it live, but I was sort of busy, so I didn't have time to sit there and watch the half hour. I did see he hit a pole. He didn't actually hit the pole. He hit the guy wire and brought the pole down, it sounded like. Been there, done that. We have made that mistake a couple of times on our farm. It's been a while. Hopefully it stays that way. But yeah, that can happen. When side dressing, when side around V2, V3, and how, as long as you break the stalk, you won't kill it. Yes, that is true. Do you varmint hunt on your farm? I don't. I probably should. Last night when I was pulling into my driveway, there was 2 raccoons coming down the tree. The tree. I only have a tree, but there was 2 coons coming down it, and I'm like, gosh dang it, we got to get rid of these things. And the groundhogs and all the rest of them. All right. I'm not much of a hunter. My dad never did, so I never picked it up. Just not my thing. Clyde Kelly Farms. So corn does great with most of, not all, its nitrogen on early. Not a lot to gain in the kernel size live plant late. Yeah, well, corn definitely needs it later. So the vast majority of the nitrogen is taken up from the V5 to VT stage. That rapid vegetative growth we get in June. And so the closer you can get to that application timing, the better. And that's why there's been a lot of a push behind the Y drops and the kind of late season nitrogen application where you can put it on tall corn. Obviously, once the corn gets taller than my side dress bar here or the axles on the tractor, I really can't get through it with this to put anhydrous on. So, or really it's the wagon, the anhydrous wagons that are probably the limiting factor there. So, how do you get that late season nitrogen on? Well, Y drops with a Hagie sprayer is one way, but I would not want to put all of our nitrogen on then. You need some of it early. But trying to figure out how to get late season nitrogen available to corn is definitely something that is needs to be done and is a little bit tricky to figure out. In this particular field, we're going to use our irrigation water. We're going to put lots more nitrogen on this field. I am fertilizing it via the planter and the side dress anhydrous here as if it was any other field that's going to average 180 to 200 bushel corn. This corn should be between 270 and 300 bushel. I'm hoping to push 300. So we're going to need another 100 pounds of nitrogen out here. My plan is to do that in 3 shots of 10 gallons to the acre at 28 added to our 360 rain irrigation water over the course of the next month and a half. It's got to be on before the 1st of August. Otherwise, you're just never going to use it and it'll be too late. But yeah, we'll see. Can't put nitrogen or some sort of starter with beans as well. Yeah, so with beans, we could put starter on and try that. Most people don't. It's something that I wanted to play with. In fact, I had a couple of totes of a starter specifically for soybeans in the barn. I have them right now I was going to use, but we didn't do any 30-inch row beans this year. And I don't have a way to apply it with our 1790 bean planter in 15-inch rows. It just got too late and was too busy to do any beans with the corn planter, so it didn't happen. We'll probably use that stuff up foliar. It is labeled for foliar over the top, but yeah, I was kind of bummed I didn't get to try that. Maybe silly, but doesn't beans produce nitrogen, and that's why they rotate corn and beans in the same field? So beans do produce nitrogen, but that is not why you rotate them. So the beans are not really providing any nitrogen to the corn. What beans do is have a lot less residue that ties up that nitrogen and that carbon to nitrogen ratio in our soil. Whereas when you have corn and you go corn on corn on corn, you have so much residue there, organic matter, breaking down that it takes a lot of nitrogen to feed those microbes that break that stuff down, and it can tie it up, which is where people mistakenly think that you get a credit from soybeans. That's not really the case. What you don't get is a penalty from having corn residue there. So yeah, that's not the reason to rotate. The reason that we rotate is because of disease pressure and different fertility needs and just overall health of our soil and the benefits of rotating crops so that you're not in a monoculture practice. It allows us to rotate fertilizers. It allows us to rotate herbicides. That's a huge one. We have different active ingredients in corn and soybeans. And if we just went beans on beans on beans, we would get weeds that we can't control with our bean herbicides. Same way with the corn, although the corn we have a little bit better actives. You can control the weeds in corn easier than you can in beans because beans are a broadleaf. Most weeds are broadleaves. Corn is a grass. And while we do have grasses and weeds here, they're easier to control in corn than broadleaves are in beans. So that's a big reason for rotation is the herbicides and weed control and just health of our soil. What are you doing? Okay. We're side dressing anhydrous. All right. Is it just me, or does the nitrogen fertilizer taste amazing? I don't know what it tastes like. You don't want to taste the nitrogen fertilizer direct. It makes good corn though. What state is that bird poop in? Well, this is Ohio bird poop, but it's in Michigan right now. It's tractor was in Ohio when it happened. Now we're in Michigan though. What did your father say about you taking a bath in the chicken water? He chuckled about it for a while, and then he's like, I understand why you don't want to use it anymore. All right. Have the farm pay for your boots. Yeah, well, I could do that. I have a farm credit card. How's your side dress going? How many acres can you typically cover a day with it? Well, today is day 3. Day 1, we only ran one tank off just to make sure everything was working. It was sort of late in the evening. Yesterday was day 2, and I had to deliver a box of seed in the morning that took me about 2.5 hours or more. It was 11 o'clock before we started. I took an hour and a half in the afternoon to go get some irrigation pipe stuff around for the system up here, and we still covered almost 200 acres. So if I had a good day where we started in the morning, I had somebody hauling tanks, and we ran all day, I could do 300 acres pretty easily, I think, if not more than that. After the second planting season on their new planter and third year on the 8RX, any changes that you would make besides in-furrow on the planter? So strictly for planting purposes, I would love to have 24-inch tracks instead of 18-inch tracks. Now, it would make this side dress application very difficult, so that's why we run 18s. If we were to buy another tractor on tracks, whether it was an 8RX, an 8RT, I would very, very strongly consider 24-inch tracks. That would be better. On the planter side of things, so the seed side of it all works really well. That planter is amazing what it can do with planting the actual corn and singulation and stuff. I do struggle with some flats. Sometimes when we have flat seed instead of round seed, its singulation drops, but we're talking 98.5 instead of 99.5. Like, who cares? It's fine. My biggest struggles are with the fertilizer systems, and it's not so much the exact rate system. Occasionally I'll have a little bit of a problem with that, but that's pretty minor. Usually it has to do with air getting trapped in the booms and in the system that doesn't allow it to get the pressure on. It kind of acts like a accumulator almost, where it creates pulses. And I need to put some valves on the end of the booms that allow me to flush the air out. That would solve my problems there. So I'm going to look into that for next year. The bigger problem is with my 2x2 system. This year we had some orifices and some check valves get clogged up. That was a real problem day 1 of planting. And then I have those, I think they're Visa gauges, like a Red Ball. They're a float gauge that's supposed to show me the fertilizer flow through the 2x2 system to make sure all the rows are working and even, and I can't see them. The fertilizer that I use is so black that you can't see anything in it. They've never worked that great to start with. I just don't like that system, and so I need to upgrade that. There are some electronic flow monitoring systems out there. There's some cheaper ones. They kind of use a magnet behind a flow meter ball like I've got. And then there's some more expensive ones that put an actual flow meter on every row. I need to do some looking and some pricing and stuff and figure out which way to go with that. But that's an upgrade that I would like to make for next year. And then again, the in-furrow delivery method, the nozzles that we're using, they're not great. And I had a couple of things that we tried this year with some experimental parts that frankly did not work at all, at least for the fertilizer system. So I'm not real happy with that, and we will be trying to find something better for next year. All right, Kelly Farms, that's enough. We're in our 8RX 370. Machine monitor will have the outside temp. See, that's what I thought, but you can't find it. Application, machine monitor. I've got speed and power, fuel and pressure stuff, temperatures. We have engine coolant, transmission oil temp, and hydraulic oil temp. I don't have an outside temp. I'm surprised by that. But it's not there. Anyway. Thanks, Mark. Are you going to double crop every acre of wheat this year? No. Well, I say no, but I guess I don't know that for sure. We are going to double crop every acre of beans at Berkey, or of wheat at Berkey this year into double crop beans for various reasons that we will talk about later, but that should be our early wheat that comes out first, which I think is going to be very early. Like, what's today? Today's the 24th. We might be, or 25th, we might be a month out from wheat harvest now, like June 25th. So we'll see on that. And then the stuff at Waldron, we've got about 200 acres. We might put a little bit of tile in on some of it. And then we did frost seed that clover. So we don't really need to double crop beans there. But I suppose if the opportunity presents itself, we could. Kind of will depend on how quick we get there, how quick the guys get the straw baled off, up here at least. And whether it's super dry or we've got moisture or what. So, all right, I just got a low tank warning, which means our tank is getting close to empty. And so I got to watch my gauges pretty close here. So I'll do my best to keep talking, but that's why I'm going to be looking back instead of at you. Says we still have 470 pounds of N in the tank, but this supplier that we're using this year doesn't seem to fill their tanks as full as our one last year did. What's the next upgrade for the farm? Bean planter? Yeah, so sprayer has been at the top of the list for a while here. Like, we've been wanting to get a Hagie sprayer for a couple of years. Thought it might happen this year, and then we bought that rain instead. So decided to hold off for a year on the Hagie sprayer, which would mean that we should be doing it next year, right? And that still is an upgrade need. But yeah, bean planter it's quickly climbed to that list. So we'll see. Between those two things, hopefully something will happen over the winter. We do have something else in the works that you guys will see later this year. I'm not ready to disclose, but I'm pretty excited for it. So those big boxes of chicken biscuit crackers is where it's at. Yeah. Thanks for the corn. I like corn. Can't imagine a more beautiful thing. I'm from Wales. Chicken biscuits. Oh, they're crackers. Wait a minute, what does it say? Chicken and a biscuit. Snack crackers. It says crackers right there. It says crackers. Oh, we're empty. Alright. Now you get to go see me and wear my mask. I'll do my best. I don't have a phone holder to be able to magnet you guys to the... Wait a minute. Do I have my phone holder in here? Doesn't look like it. Oh! We do! Look at this. Now do I have a GoPro with an actual magnet on it? No, problem is you're going to be sideways because I'm vertical and this holds it horizontal. Oh yeah, we can make that work. We can absolutely make that work. Alright. What are you actually doing right now? Actually, we're getting ready to change an anhydrous tank. We're putting fertilizer on our corn. That's what we're doing. How's your wheat looking? Just listened to Ag PhD and they're talking about flagleaf fungicide. One guy was talking about stripe rust. Yeah, wheat looks fantastic. Wheat looks really, really good. I am excited for our wheat crop. We are well past flagleaf fungicide. We put a early fungicide on, and then we did not do a flagleaf one, but we did do head scab fungicide. So I think our wheat is going to be good. we'll find out in a few weeks, a month or so. But yeah, I'm pretty excited for that. All right. When does the rain get its first run? Well, I don't know yet. We've still got some work to do yet. We've got to get pipe buried. We've got to get the well finished. They've got the well drilled, but they don't have a pump set yet. So we're kind of waiting on that stuff. A little bit of electrical work to do, but that's minor. Hello from Russia. Hello. Just wondered if you've seen, heard of any stripe rust. We have some. We have, yes, we have seen this. I don't know if I've seen any this year, but yeah, we get rust on our wheat. It does happen. All right, I'm gonna put you guys in my holder in a minute, and we're gonna go out and unhook this tank, and I'll show you the process as best we can. Great treatsy on nitrogen. Okay. You hauling peanuts? Nope. Time to barbecue my catfish. Nice. I made a pork butt this morning for my daughter's birthday party. Ooh, is that gonna sit? Maybe. This might work. It might not. We'll find out. All right, sunglasses gotta come off. What else we got? Doesn't putting straight carbon fire ash into soil help? I mean, sure, carbon. I don't know about. I don't know. Carbon is good in our soil. It's a good thing. We put a lot of humic acid, liquid carbon products on to try and increase the carbon in the soil. All right. You guys are going to have to sit right there. Nope. Nope. Right there. Mask on. Does nitrogen timing dictate protein content of the corn? Good, that'll give me something to think about while I'm showing you what I do. Alright, so I got our respirator on. It's really overkill. All I really need is goggles to protect my eyes. But I like this. It feels safer. Gloves. You guys are kind of in the way now, because this is where my hose goes. Okay. Now we unhook it. Safety chains. Come on. Pin. Put the clip back in. Come on. There we go. Alright, so that's good. Now we can pull away from that one and go pull up to our full tank. So, nitrogen timing and protein on corn. I have no idea on protein content of corn. That's not something that we are tested for, or track, or care about, really. It does make a difference in some types of wheat. We raise soft red winter wheat, and protein content is not important. We don't get tested or paid for protein content, so it's not something that we pay much attention to. I know with the hard red guys, and maybe even the soft white wheat, protein is important, but it's not for us. Alright, how can I do this here? Can't steer with close enough. Alright, now we gotta go hook this one up. I'll leave the mask off until I need it.
Any news on the F12 engine? Got to take my... No, haven't heard anything about that. You would think by now, it's been a year and a half, they would have it done. I should probably call them. I just haven't because it doesn't really matter. I'm not going to do anything with it anytime soon. All right, we're gonna leave you guys there. I'm gonna hook up the tongue first. This one had a pin. Okay, I will be right back. I gotta get the pin out of the cab. This one, it's a hitch pin, safety clip and everything. So our old supplier that we had been working with, they had pins chained to every tank. So I never carried a pin, never needed one. This supplier does not. So some of their wagons have them, some of them don't. Now we gotta hook up our hose. Like that. Good to go. Just got to back up and latch our hitch in. While I get out and do this, I always like to give a look across all the hoses and row units, just make sure nothing looks bent, broken, plugged, hose comes off, anything like that. The hose comes off, usually you know pretty quick because the gas will be blowing out all over and not into the soil. Okay. Let's get you out of here. Tripod phone mount for the win. Now back in your ram mount. Okay. Back it up. Now we've got to make this pass where this tank is sitting, so we're gonna move out of the way. Spin around. Also got to tell my monitor that we have got a full tank. So that it keeps track and tells me when it's empty this time. And off we go. Alright. Will the 360 rain start to damage the plants at some point while you still want to water them? Nope, it will go right over the top. Will not damage them at all. You'll see. We'll see how this works once we get running. You should get an endorsement from Dr. Pepper. Started drinking after seeing you. Email them and tell them that, would you? Haven't had any for years. Yeah. Grasses you spray when growing beans, and broadleaves you spray when growing corn, then, right? Well, yes and no, right? So we have different herbicides. There are some herbicides that control broadleaves in soybeans without hurting the soybeans, and we have some herbicides like atrazine that controls grasses in corn without hurting the corn. So you have to control both, right? You can't have a cornfield full of grass. You can't have a bean field full of broadleaves. It's just easier to control grasses in corn than it is broadleaves in beans. Hi from Australia.
Any of that chicken water left? My peppers and tomatoes would probably like it. How much you want for it? That's on the extract tanks. I mean, there's a little bit of rinsate in the tanks yet, but Innovative Ag, Hicksville, Ohio. They'll sell it to you. $4 a gallon. I suggest the 25-inch tracks instead. They have significantly wider idler wheels and float and ride much nicer. Okay, yes. You can't get 25-inch on a RX. On an RT, you could do 25s, and you're right. Wide idlers and drive wheels would be a much better thing. Agreed. Any purchases planned? We already kind of talked about that, Matt. Unironically playing farming simulator while watching this. Yeah. Can you double crop beans onto beans? Well, how would that work? Because you harvest beans in September. You want me to plant beans after that? Can the 360 rain spray herbicide? No. Corn after wheat, corn, beans. What? I'm not following it. Hello from Valencia, Spain. Hello there. Don't pull a Brian Brown and wipe out a power pole. This field doesn't have any power poles. There are none for me to hit. So, we should be okay. 120 bushel wheat this year looked good when I drove through Jonesville the other day. It's going to brush on. Don't know if it was yours though. If you drove through Jonesville, you didn't see our wheat. But yes, our wheat looks great. I don't know if we'll hit 120. That's outstanding. But we should have some fields average over 100. Smoked that pork butt. Yes, I did. Put her on at 1 o'clock in the morning. That was pretty good. Actually, I did 2 of them because they come in a 2-pack. And oh, wait. We already did this. You guys distracted me again. We made the 1 pass that we had skipped earlier, which means we got to go back. Backing up anhydrous tanks is not easy. Hi from Italy. What do you think of nitrogen fixation bacteria on corn? I think it's promising. I don't think it will supply the nitrogen that our corn needs. And depending on which company you're speaking about or which product specifically, there's better and worse ones. Let's say that. Let's see. We were in this pass when we ran out, so we better take it up to finishes. Oh, that way. That. There we go. Okay. Trying not to run over too much corn here. Alright. I've been using a product called Source that I really like. I think it does a good job of helping the corn feed the microbes in the soil that are already there. It seems to work for us. Could or would you tune a second 360 rain off the well given the flow rate the driller advised? Would you have a second field close by and you can add a second rain? So yes, you could run a second rain unit off of this well. Their production is there. We take a bigger pump obviously, and we take a little coordinating and plan on how to make all that happen. Our problem is we have no more fields on this side of the river close by. We do have one across the river, but how are you going to pipe it across the river? By the time you got piped there, it would be much cheaper just to drill another well. So, yeah, because I told our rain guy, salesman, about it, and about the well, and so he's like, so I heard you say you want a second one then? And I'm like, well, we don't have anywhere to put it, but if you want to work out a deal with one of my neighbors to put one in and buy water from us, we'll see, we'll talk. But, yeah, it's not feasible with the location of this well. Given what we got here, if this works the way I hope it does, and if we consider another rain unit in the future, we might think about locating a well where we could potentially run 2 of them off of a single well in the future. It's a possibility. We have places that would work. Feed them little corn. I'm out first cutting hay today. 8340R with triple Morse. Nice. There's been a lot of hay made in the last week around here. What's that tank you're hauling filled with? Anhydrous ammonia, NH3. It is our nitrogen fertilizer. Have a great birthday party tonight for your little princess. It was at noon today. Thanks, Bert. Watching from Ireland. Hello. Watching from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. I was there last summer. Thought this was... I don't know what that means. How come you pull a packer and not a rolling harrow behind your cultivator? Because our clay soils need that pulverizer. They call it a brilliant pulverizer to pulverize the clods and break them up into finer dirt and soil so it's not so cloddy. We had a rolling harrow behind a smaller field cultivator that my uncle used down to Berkey when he was kind of doing that on his own stuff. Another uncle that, someday we'll talk about. We tried that in our soil here after we sort of started farming everything, and she no work. No worky in our dirt. It was not good. So there are some at Berkey in that area, in some of those soils, guys use them a little bit more, but around here you don't see double rolling harrows or rolling baskets or anything like that. I would be interested to see if we could get away from pulling the packer as much, at least behind the disc. If we could find a tillage tool, whether it's a 2660 VT Deere, a high-speed disc, a different Landau, something with a better finishing system on the back than our 7431 Landau, where we wouldn't have to pull a packer behind it, that would be great. That would be an upgrade. But for right now, we really like the job that those do. The 8430 running good now. It's running. We haven't used it a ton since we had our issues. It still does not seem to be sucking coolant back into the radiator and the pressure tank from the expansion tank. So we're wondering if we have a thermostat stuck maybe. I don't know. It's not. It just seems kind of strange. So better or okay, yes, but it's not what it's supposed to be. Doesn't really help. Hello from the exotic West Toledo. Thanks. Where are you? We are in southern Michigan. I'm sure we have talked about it in the past, but why should you grow white corn? Well, because nobody grows white corn. That's such a niche market in a very, very small part of the country that I couldn't sell it anywhere. It would do me no good. That's why. Have you ever tried a Pivot Bio product before? No, I'm not a believer in the Pivot Bio. I like the source. I like the mode of action on it, where it's activating microbes that are already in the soil. Adding a teaspoon of the microbes to an acre and thinking that it's going to make some kind of a difference is, it's a hard sell for me. A real hard sell. I haven't seen great results from it. I know several people that have tried it, including one of my seed customers who does a lot of trial work, who I trust, and they have seen almost zero positive results from Pivot Bio. What tractor? We're in our 8RX 370. Did a great video this morning. Good lesson on nitrogen. Thank you. How much water is the rain able to put on per acre? Well, it can put on as much as you want. Just depends on how fast you want to do it. So we should be able to water this entire 170 acre field in a week, putting on a ½ inch. Now keep in mind that ½ inch is then concentrated into a 15-inch band, because we are not watering the center of the rows. We're dropping the water right on the row. So it's kind of effectively an inch of rain, but it's not really an inch of rain, if that makes sense. Question: if a tornado or derecho lays the wheat crop down, will the crop rebound, or is it down for the count like corn? Depends on when it happens and how bad it is. The later we get here, the more likely it is down for the count. However, we're almost to the point where it's filling out heads right now, but you give it another week or two and those heads are going to be filled out, and all we've got to do is dry it down. So would it be a nightmare to harvest? Yeah. Would there still be wheat there? Yeah. It'll still be okay. Hello, Mark from Detroit, Michigan. Grain price concerns with China canceling orders, Brazil increasing exports, and Ukraine. So wheat market has done really well in the last week. That's encouraging. Corn and soybeans, yeah, they're still down. It's not great, but it's not the end of the world. Like, we're still going to make some money here. So would I love to get back over $5 corn? Yeah, $5 corn would be great. $12, $13 beans? Sure. Is it the end of the world? No, we're okay. You got beans with a 1 in the front of it. That's a pretty darn good price historically. We get down to $9 and then we're in trouble. Corn starts with a 3, then we're in trouble. Cash prices. But we're okay. We're okay. How much nitrogen would it theoretically take to make 300 bushel corn? Probably would need sulfur, zinc, boron. Because if I remember right, you can't bank boron and zinc. Correct. So, yeah, it's not a one or the other thing. You can't just say, I'm going to put 500 pounds of nitrogen on and I'll have 500 bushel corn. It doesn't work like that. Rule of thumb is 1 pound per bushel. So if I want to raise 300 bushel corn, I'm going to need 300 pounds of nitrogen from somewhere. I can probably do better than that, but I would say it would take at least 250 pounds to get to 300 bushel corn applied. Any concern with 360 rain tipping over in high winds since it's tall? I'm not terribly concerned with that. I suppose that it is possible, but we've got it parked east to west, so it's not going across the river, and you know, it's not broadside to the west winds. I don't know. They're so new, I don't think that's ever happened, but could it? I suppose it could. It's going to be pretty darn heavy, especially once the hose is full of water, so it would take a lot to tip it over. God bless you, brother. Thank you. Bud a big bud. Okay. We will be ready in a week or two here in West Tennessee. Nice. Ever thought of growing almonds? No, I don't live in California. Too rough on the turns to read your questions. Let's see, what are we up to? 138 acres in this field of the 170. 175. We're going to be just short probably on nitrogen in this tank, but we got another full one sitting here. So. Calling you from Paraguay, South America. Greetings. Watch all your videos since 2020. Wow, great. Thank you. Buy a big bud. I don't want a big bud. Thanks for the live stream. You're welcome. What tractor is this? 8RX 370. I've got more what tractor we driving questions today than ever. I didn't know about the white corn or pivot bio stuff because down where I'm from, there's a farmer that uses pivot bio and there's a lot of white corn ground here in southern Indiana. Yeah, there's certain areas of the country, southern Indiana, and I think there's a pocket in Nebraska that they raise some white corn and even some blue corn. But it's pretty few and far between. A lot of popcorn in Indiana. And then the pivot bio stuff, yeah, it's hard to sell to me. Anyone grow food crops in your area beside wheat? Not right here, I guess. There's some vegetable stuff to the east of us, north of Toledo in the Blissfield area. There's some cabbage, a few other things in that area. You go west of us, there's a lot of potatoes raised. You go south of us and west, I guess, there's tomatoes. So there is some of that kind of stuff, but nothing in our immediate area. Strawberries. I got a neighbor that raises strawberries. Does that count? They're about ready, by the way. I've been watching too many tornadoes on YouTube. No wheat and very few wheat fields in Connecticut. Yeah. Have you tried using amino acids to boost growth? I use it on sugarcane. Maybe, I'm going to say. So I've got some foliar products. I got some PGRs, plant growth regulators and stuff that might have some amino acids in it. Some of the products that I'm using, combination stuff, might be some amino acids. The claim with that chicken litter water is that it's got amino acids in it. I don't know. But nothing specifically for that purpose, I guess. Excited to see irrigated beans in the coming years. You're going to have to wait a little while, but we'll get there. Shout out to Eden, Ohio, because you spelled it wrong if it is. How many acres are you planning to side dress today? Well, the goal was just to finish this field. I had about 70 to do when I started. If everything's going well, I could do another 55, 60 tonight, but I got a bunch of family in, and I don't want to be up here super late, so we probably won't do that. We're going to finish this field. We got 30 acres to go. Take another hour or so, and probably call it a day. Is there a white wheat market in your area? Not right here, there's not. Up in the thumb of Michigan, they raise some white wheats. But it would take trucking it quite a ways to sell any white wheat. And I hear white wheat has lots of issues with sprout and other challenges growing it, so I don't really have much interest in it. We're in a really good spot for raising soft red winter wheat. We can raise really good wheat here. Any compaction concerns with the 360 rain running down the same rows repeatedly? Any plans to remove check-ins? I suppose it could be an issue, but it shouldn't really run on wet soil ever, so that's good. And it's going to run in the same tracks as the tractor and planter and the tank that I pulled behind the planter did. So once you drive down a patch of soil, you do most of the compaction in that first trip over it. Subsequent passes, yeah, they're going to add some, but not nearly as much as that first pass. And so that's why having it in the same tracks is a really good thing. I don't know. We're learning with this thing. It's a whole new ball game. So it'll be really interesting to see, but I believe the concept works. What do you think of all the big floods worldwide? I have no idea. I will admit right now that I don't watch the news. I can't stand watching the news. I hate the political slants to everything and the spoon-fed information of what we want you to know, when we want you to know it kind of thing. So I just don't pay attention to any of it. How's the applicator wearing? Is in the boots and beaver tails? Definitely starting to see a little bit of wear, but everything was brand new when we started, and we're 300 acres in, so we shouldn't be seeing a ton of wear yet. But we'll have to keep an eye on things when we get a break here or something and take a look. But for the most part, the boots look to be in really good shape. The blades are still in great shape. We haven't even worn all the paint off the back side of the blades yet, so they're doing really good. But those beaver tails wear quickly, and I'm wondering if maybe we need to replace them halfway through this year based on what they've looked like in the past. So, all right, guys, I am caught up on the chat, other than some weird stuff. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and end this one here. Thanks for watching. I am not making video today. This was my Saturday video, since all I'm doing is 70 acres here, and it was a late start. Sorry, dropped you. So we're going to wrap this one up. If you got a last second question, go ahead and get it in. But thanks for riding along for a little while on your Memorial Day weekend Saturday. Have a great weekend. Thank you to all of our military troops. I know it's Memorial Day. It's for the people that have died in service, but thank you anyway for your service. Yeah, we'll have a good rest of the weekend. I'm hoping that it rains tonight or tomorrow. If it doesn't, we'll probably be working tomorrow. I'll try and make a video. If it does rain, I'm taking a day off, and we'll see you Monday. We will be out here Monday unless it's too wet. So what do we got? Where in the heck has Brock been the past couple of videos? I don't know. Brock was here a couple of days last week, or a day last week. It's funny that everybody always asks where Brock is in the videos that he's actually appears in. But But yeah, he's, I don't know, working his own job or doing whatever. I haven't heard much from him, so it's fine. Hope it was a good birthday party. It was. Thank you. Good night, everybody. Good night. Have a great weekend. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you. We'll see you when we see him in a new video soon.